TESOL Pop, Season 11, Episode 5. Hello and welcome to TESOL Pop, the mini podcast for busy teachers. I'm your host, Laura Wilkes, and joining me today to talk about building a community within a school is Dr. Joel Floyd. Now, Joel is the founder and executive director of Ignite Career Foundation, where he and his team help adult learners develop the skills they need in order to progress in their lives and their careers. Now, we talk about a lot of things in this short conversation, but we started by talking about the transformative journey one of Joel's learners, Junior, has been on recently since he joined Ignite Career Foundation. So let's start the conversation there.
Right. Well, there's one student we call him Junior. He came from Venezuela about, I would say, 2 to 3 years ago. And one of the things at our foundation that we do annually for our students, and I think this is relevant because this is Thanksgiving week, is we have an annual Thanksgiving dinner. And that student, he had finished the program. We have 4 levels. Each level is about 20 weeks. And we asked him to speak and just to reflect upon his experience and what was it like studying the English language with us, coming from Venezuela, coming into the U.S. and having to start life all over again and to have to really learn a new language. One of the first things that Junior stated was that it felt like family to him. And so just being able to create an environment of inclusivity, just meeting him where he was and helping him to understand that he also was important in the learning process. But what struck me about Junior was the fact that he came and he had already obtained his professional pilot license back in Venezuela. But of course, when people or adults who are foreign born, when they come to this country, oftentimes they are challenged because they have to start life over again. They have to start those educational credentials over again. And Junior was really excited because he says, now because I've learned English, I feel like I've gotten a great foundation. I can now go to pilot school and I plan to become a pilot for Delta Airlines one day. And I can tell you to this day, Junior has already entered into one of the training schools at Delta. So we're really excited about that. And aside from the English language courses that we offer, we've also partnered with Google. So we're going with Google as well. And he's also taken a cybersecurity course through our foundation, through the partnership with Google. So we're really excited about that. And just being able to listen to Junior's story, him coming here, not having any English proficiency, very little, leaving his country, having to start over, and the significant progress that he has made to date, it's just impressive. And that just speaks to the testament to the very critical work that we do when it comes to helping the foreign-born population, our adults and communities with limited English language proficiency, to overcome those barriers and to achieve their life goals here in the U.S. And even if they return to their country, they have this important language skill and they can use it to thrive. And that's just what Junior's doing.
That's a beautiful story to hear about Junior's journey. And I imagine there's a lot of work that goes into supporting a student on that journey, because that's a huge upheaval for Junior's life to have come from somewhere where he was qualified, where he had the languages to do his job, and then to kind of feel going back to zero, to start all over again, and also the retraining as well of the pilot's license that you mentioned. It takes a lot of motivation, I'm thinking, from an individual point of view, to kind of engage in something where you feel like, well, I've already done this, I have to do it again, and I'm starting from scratch. Could you tell us about the community and the work your team are doing to really help students like Junior to engage in that journey? You mentioned the inclusive community that you build there, and there's some obviously lots of other work going on behind the scenes. What sort of ingredients go into the work you're doing that makes Junior's story and so many other stories of students that you help a possibility?
Yes, thank you for this question. And it's a big challenge because when our learners, our adult learners, especially those in our non-native population pool, when they come, they're already challenged with having to start a new life over again, starting a new language. Just imagine going to another country and being dropped off and having to start life over again. So that's the big challenge. And so when we have our professional training, we're very intentional about creating community. And when we think about community for us at Ignite Career Foundation, what we mean is ensuring that we meet our students where they are and making sure everyone's voice is heard. We've had students who have come here and they've enrolled in other programs, and it was just really curriculum driven by the content, are learning English strictly. But one of the things that we do is we really want to get to know who our students are, really understand their experience, really digging beneath, beyond where they're from, but understanding what their goals are and showing them how we can help them to establish their goals and to create a voice in this world and this society so that they can go back into their local communities in the US and become change agents and show their friends and family, hey, I'm actually doing it. In addition to that, we focus on compassion because we understand when we deal with English language learners with limited English proficiency, some of our learners, they come from backgrounds where there may have been war in their country, or there are all types of circumstances. So their plight of life is very different. And so we understand that we have to meet them with compassion and understanding that, hey, our experience is different from their experience, but that's okay. And this is how we learn from our students, and our students learn from us. So it's just not a situation where, if you think metaphorically, where you go to the ATM, you deposit cash, and they're the ATM which is depositing all of this knowledge. But we want to hear from them too. So it's a reciprocal relationship where we're learning about their experience and we're facilitating the process so that they can feel comfortable. And that's that compassion, that element of compassion, that we have shown and that we continue to show. And that's one of the another element that I believe helps us to stand out from the rest.
I think that's so important, isn't it, to kind of really look at the student as a whole. And we haven't talked about any of like the grammar or pronunciation or those kind of nuts and bolts of teaching languages here. We've actually thought about what is it that the student brings to the classroom and how can you create the space for them to be themselves and obviously tap into that. Could you give us a snapshot of what a first day could look like for a student? Then they come to your center, to the school. What would they be greeted by? Like, what would that first day experience be like?
Well, yeah, the enrollment specialist at our front office, just imagine a student coming in. It's just, I've, when I trained our stakeholders, I always informed them that it's important to build rapport with the student. You don't want to think as, and it's education, of course, it's a business, and we have some students who are self pay, but we want to make the student feel as though that they are important when they come in. A welcome, just building that basic rapport, just not just enroll. You have to do A, B, C, D, E, and just really connecting. We'll start off with a questionnaire, finding out what their specific goals are, and a placement test. So we talk about those goals, and they take that placement test, and we say, hey, this is what you need to do. These are the strengths and weaknesses that we see through our placement test. But in addition to that, this is what you need to do to reach those goals. We also give students the opportunity to do a classroom observation. So it's not a situation of moving impetuously or just rushing into the classroom, but we say, hey, we want you to feel comfortable. So let's do a classroom observation and see what you think. I've also recently, in the last year, another strategy that we've done on students who have persisted in the program, students in higher levels, we would have that student kind of as a shadow, just to meet the new student and just really talk about the experience. And that's transformative. So when one student hears a student who has persisted in the program over time, and that student said, hey, you can do it. I came to this country too. I didn't speak the language, but I'm a level 4. This is what I'm doing. And that's motivating. So we put all of those elements together. And so there's no one formula. You put all those things together, and it's just a beautiful situation at the end for those students who persist and those who decide to continue and understand that it's for them and it's critical for their life.
That's so important, isn't it? That students have role models that they can see themselves in. And I think that kind of cascades into the community as well, like Junior's community, him actually training now for his pilot's license in the US, having attained great proficiency in English. He's a role model for his community, but you also have role models within the school from what you just described for new people coming on board to be like, oh, this person made it possible. This is possible for me. People have to believe that they can do it themselves as much as anything in the learning process, right? If they don't believe they can do it, they're not even going to show up and try.
Right. That's true. And just taking that first step, I think that's base. And as you stated, when they see that other student who may have come from their same country, or there's something that they can identify with uniquely, it's this aha moment. If you did it, surely I can do it. And sometimes seeing is believing. They say picture's worth a thousand words. Just imagine the program, the classes as the picture. And when they come and they see it, it's like, hey, wow, I can do this. And again, building or creating community, making students feel welcomed and letting them know, hey, we want to hear your story. This is yours. I tell students, this is your school. We've had students, we have a coffee area where students drink coffee and water. They can laundry. Is it okay if this is your school. This is our school. So feel free, just using those buzzwords and just those basic things. And when you're saying those, um, you're welcome. Bring your family, bring your friends. If you need to get here a few minutes before time, go to the computer lab, use it. This is yours, as this is our school, and we're doing this together. And so those are things, just little buzzwords, buzz things that help students to feel comfortable creating that space. It's about creating a space for them. And so I think that's one of the things that we've done well to sustain over time.
It's powerful, isn't it? When we use words that translate to actions that also involve the
Yes.
students, and then the students start using the language as well, and they say it's our school, and they talk about it in that way. It has that beautiful kind of ripple effect, and it's just so powerful, isn't it? When actions and words all align for that inclusive environment that you described. This is really inspiring, and I can imagine that listeners are going to be like, "We want to really come and visit Joel's school now." Hang out at the coffee bar.
It's fun.
I would love for you to leave with a parting gift for listeners who have sat with us in this conversation, just feel really inspired to have an impact in their local context too. What would you like to share with them?
Yes, thank you. And I would say that our work it's critical work, and it's work that we're proud of. Obviously, oftentimes people don't see what's going on behind the scenes because we are the professionals, we are the practitioners who are digging in the trenches and helping these adults to reach their goals. But what I would say is that while we're working and we're busy and we are strategizing and figuring out what's best is what's next, don't forget to become a reflective practitioner, taking the time out to just think about what you can do to improve or to become better, and just obtaining the critical skills that you need. Because as our students are learning, we too are lifelong learners. So it's all about becoming a lifelong learner. I've worked with veteran teachers and I've encouraged them, hey, we have this training. Let's continue to get training. The trends are changing in our field. So we want to make sure that we are lifelong learners and that we are reflective in our teaching practices, intentional, journaling our work, thinking about how we can refine certain instructional strategies, etc. Having our colleagues come in and to do an observation and to give us that feedback, conducting student surveys and really being intentional about those things. But I think that we become better, we become greater when we are also a reflective practitioner. And so this is what I would have to say to current and future teachers in our great field.
That's a lovely gift to end this episode with. Thank you so much, Joel. Before we finish up today, where can listeners find out more and follow your amazing work?
Yes, we have a website. It's www.eng, like English, ENG, the number four, careers with an S.org.
Brilliant. And as always, I'm going to include that link in the show notes so you can find those easily.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Joel, for talking to us today. It's been really inspiring to have this chat.
Thank you.
As always, if you have an idea or a question that you'd like to pitch, you can contact us on social media or the website tesolpop.com. Finally, you can support us by sharing today's episode to continue the conversation with your teaching community, by leaving a rating review wherever you listen to the podcast, or by even buying us a coffee. Now, wouldn't that be nice? By going to ko-fi.com/tesolpop.